Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, and welcome to our show, MindShifters Radio, with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. And we've already got several people, including our friends from the UK who are coming to Heartland, all in the chat room. And Tim's on the line, and I'm on the line. And Michael, welcome.
Hey, that's awesome. What a great start for the day. Welcome our English constituents, Les and Jen and Owen and Bill. We're delighted to be sharing this time with you and look forward to the calls that you might make. I'm not sure, but I think if you call in to the 646 number, I believe it's a Skype number, so I think it would be a free call from Skype. I'm not sure, but just that piece of information, and maybe we could actually talk with you folks, which would be awesome. Welcome. Good morning for those who are in morning time, which we still are here in Las Vegas, and good afternoon for those who are in the afternoon and evening time. I hope your day is going well, and welcome. Are there any questions or comments yet in the chat room or on the phone, Jeanie?
Nope, just everybody saying hello. We do have a young lady who is supposed to call in from Florida. She said it might be tomorrow before she calls in. She has been doing the 40 days, 5 worksheets a day, and she's getting ready to finish up. And she said that today, though, that she has stuff in her face. And I said, well, what better time to call and let Michael help you process through? So I'm not sure if she's going to call in today or not. But as of right now, there's nobody on the line.
Okay, well, that's awesome that stuff is up in your face. That's desirable. That's precisely the result we want, because until you can face it, you can't let go of it. And, a lot of people say, well, gee, if I've got all this stuff in me, why don't I just leave it there, kind of let sleeping dogs lie? Why would I want to stir that up? Well, because it's a load in your tissue structure, because it's a load to your cells. It's the stuff that aging, degeneration, and disease are made of. You don't want to carry it around. You can't get away from dealing with it. If it's in there, it's going to have its say, and it's going to do that either physically, as the symptoms of aging, the aches and pains and all those sorts of things, or you're going to go, all right, how do I collapse this dissociated mind? How do I clean out this stuff that never belonged in my human field in the first place? And you've come to the right place if they've been questions you've been asking, because that's what our Aramaic forgiveness tool and process is about. We have on our website, www.whyagain.com, on the right-hand side, you'll see a link that says Download Worksheets. You can go to that site. You can download the first two links. The first one is the Reality Management Instruction Set. It's a new chapter 24 from my book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And the second link is a copy of the Reality Management Worksheet, the how-to of forgiveness. How do you collapse that dissociated mind and clean it out? And Jeanie tells me that we do have a caller on the line. Welcome.
We actually have two calls. Oh, one just disappeared. Maybe they'll call back. But we do have area code 786. You're on the air. Who do we have, and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Dayu speaking, Jeanie. How are you doing?
Hi, wonderful. How are you?
We're glad you talk about me on the radio. I was listening in for the first time today, so I thought I would call in. So here's...
Awesome.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, welcome. Glad to hear from you. Congratulations on your 40th day of forgiveness.
Well, I'm on worksheet number 181 and 182, so I'm close to 200, but I'm not quite there. But I think I've done okay, I made a strong commitment. It started, day one was the day of the workshop, and someone said, can I just do one a day? And I said, I don't care how many I do. I'm just going to keep doing it until the 40 days are up. And I knew that it would get easier, and it did. It got much easier to do the worksheets as time went on. So the fact that I didn't let myself worry about getting to 200, it was okay. It worked out fine.
Cool.
But as
awesome.
Jeanie mentioned, I have something in my face, and I need your help. So Jeanie wrote to me and said, well, if you have something in your face, this might be a good time to call Michael. So my worksheet says, I don't want to be vulnerable on radio, on air. I want to look like someone who's done a 40-day forgiveness worksheet stint. That was what I wrote for 1A, you know.
Well, one of the things that, I don't know whether Terry's on the line or not, but David challenged Terry, who's now at Heartland, to do 5 worksheets a day. Or pardon me, actually he started out with 1 worksheet a day. He switched over to 5 worksheets, and up until about 2 months ago, for over 3 years, Terry had done 5 worksheets a day. And he called me a couple of months ago, and maybe if he's on the line, he could share with us, or maybe if he's around, David, if he's there, he could share with us why he decided to up his commitment after 3 years of 5 a day to do 10 a day.
Really?
That's what Terry's doing now, yes.
Wow,
So
3 whole years a day, not just 40 days. Okay, so I'm doing all right then.
Yeah, you're doing awesomely well, and when you recognize that what you're doing is you're flushing out, looking at, dealing with, and cleaning out 1,000 generations. You know, you brought into this life in your genetic structure everything that's ever happened in your bloodline. And as the work goes on, it's the cleaning out of those hostilities and fears and the crazy things that have happened in our bloodline and in our culture that never belonged in a human experience. So congratulations on being willing to go there.
Thank you very much. So, so I've really been praying to be inclined towards healing. And so for 3, I wrote, I being don't want myself to look bad, to show my garbage in public, and then I release my need to be right, and then. Okay,
so hold on. Hold on. So when you get to number 3, you're looking at a positive word image. So notice that your focus is what you don't want.
Okay.
When you focus on what you don't want.
I want to look good in public.
There you go. Okay, that's it.
Okay, I want to look good in public. And then I release that by saying, in order to collapse my false reality, be liberated from my hostility and fear, get back to my actual mind and the truth about me and my object of attention, I cancel my goal for myself to look good in public.
Right on track. So what happens when you do that?
Well, here I am talking to you on the phone. I haven't gotten beyond number 3. I got to 3B where I asked God and Ruka de Kucha to incline me towards healing and restore me to my original nature love, and now I'm talking to you.
Okay, so as you say to yourself, I cancel my need, so we're on number 5. I cancel my need for
looking good.
I need to look good in public. And I asked Ruka to change that in me. What comes up? What are you feeling as you do that?
Vulnerable.
Okay, cool. Then I just mark in there vulnerable. That's right on track. And then when you are in that vulnerable space, what usually happens in your life?
I climb up.
Okay. Are you breathing?
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah, that becomes a necessary step in the process to keep the breath moving. And so breathe, and what other feelings? So your thought is actually, I'm vulnerable. What's the feeling that goes with that thought?
Well, I just feel tears. I feel tears well up. And I just remember that incident when I was a child in high school, and I couldn't go and tell the teacher that I didn't know how to study for the test because everything had changed in our chemistry. It was no longer equations. It was stuff I could understand. We had to memorize things. I wasn't good at that. And I didn't know how to say I'm not good at that, you know.
Breathe. Breathe and let yourself feel that that energy, that trauma.
So I just lied. I told him I was sick, and I convinced the matron to send me to the sand for 3 days. I stayed away, and I didn't have to do the test. And I got away with it, and I got to look good.
But notice that, and I can assume that that's probably at least 15 years ago.
Give or take a few.
So you got away with it. Notice what the non-being mind says. I got away with it, and I got to look good, and I've been carrying this trash in my tissue structure ever since. Does that sound like getting away with something?
No.
It's obviously not a solution that works, but that's the way the non-being mind thinks. Is it's all about what happens in the outer world. There's a great statement in the teachings of Yeshua where he talks about what the Pharisee is, and in that context, the Pharisee is one who makes everything look good on the outside, but inside is full of pain and trauma, hostility and fear. And so it sounds like you just jumped right in and made yourself a little pharisaical mind up, and you've been carrying that for too long, lady.
Yeah, too long is right, yeah. So it's scary to look vulnerable when you're supposed to be a practitioner, when you're supposed to have, done all your work and you're supposed to be on top of it and all that kind of stuff.
Sounds like you're shooting on yourself a lot.
Yeah, you're right, I am.
I remember a couple of years ago at Heartland, we had a woman show up who was in an old beat-up car. She had somehow found her way to Heartland, and she was kind of like a bag lady in a car. And I went up and I brought her into my house, and we had a glass of water, and we talked to her a bit, and my phone rang, and I said, "Excuse me for just a moment, let me answer my phone, and I'll be right back." And by the time I got back, she had gotten in her car and driven away. And I went back down to the classroom in the middle of an intensive, and I was the one that was on the floor in tears, and the people who were there at the intensive were there supporting me, clearing it up.
Uh-huh.
None of us is finished. We're all in this boat together. And, the bulk of professional training plays the game of, well, you have to be perfect. And guess what? There are none of us that are. You go back to Yeshua, and they said, why call me perfect? None of us is perfect. There's one, it ain't me. So I support you being willing to be vulnerable and let people be there to support you, even as a practitioner.
Wow. And at that time, all I was a student, but I was one of the brighter students, so that's what I had to stand by that somehow, And it's hard. It's hard,
So how does it look like?
What came
Dayu,
up?
How does it look like your life to make it hard?
Well, I guess it's just, then you just end up doing it all alone. You end up doing it all alone. And I thought to myself, well, I'll just listen in today and I won't really call in. And Jeanie really put me on the spot when she said, well, there's Florida. And I thought, let's get it over with, let's get it over with.
Jeanie really invited you into a new level of healing, did she?
She really did.
And
thank you, Jeanie.
You're welcome. And I want to offer that there is some people from the UK that are in the chat room, and he just put on there that he thinks it's very courageous what you're doing and being able to speak it up and be online and process through it. And so you're touching other lives just by going through your process.
And
right. We're all in this boat together. This is all of us.
And the hard part is for me to be the one doing it, and that too in public, So I guess the thing that that triggered me this morning was there's a family member, and we haven't been speaking much for a while, so my mom had a chance to speak with her, and she said, since you brought up the subject, this is the reason why I haven't been speaking with her. And it kind of triggered me because I felt that she was giving very mixed messages. On the one hand, she asks for help, and then when help is given, she's like, I don't want it. So I was my anger level was 10 out of 10 this morning, and I mean it's abated now because I did some energy work on it, but I don't think it's healed because it's really a very maybe, as you said, it's generational. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff between people.
So notice that, and just take a look at the way the mind connects from the unconscious level, or that dissociated mind. Notice that you are processing the desire to look good,
yes,
and you're probably dealing with a family member that wants to look good and therefore isn't out there for exposure, and your rage comes up. Who do you suppose the rage is about?
A dissociated self within myself.
Oh, no question about it.
So, wow, I never connected the dots there. I never realized that she
That's
also
the idea
wants good.
You know, there's this wonderful African proverb that says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And what I'm in blockage of, you get to see and feed back to me, and what you're in blockage of, I get to see and feed back to you, and here we are, a community of support.
And I'd like to add, too, someone in the chat room just mentioned that they're not real good at being disciplined to do that many worksheets, and I offered that it was different than being disciplined, that it was making a commitment to do them. And that's what you did, is you made a commitment to follow through with it, correct?
I made a commitment because I knew even if I could only manage 3 a day and I spent the whole day doing just those 3, I knew it would get easier because everything in life gets easier, with time. And I knew that where I was doing only 2 or 3, eventually I'd be able to do 6 or 7. And that's pretty much what happened. Some days I've been doing 6 or 7 towards the end, and some days I've been doing 10. And some days I've done nothing, and I haven't let it bother me, and now I'm at 180 or 182 or something. So as long as I didn't let the numbers get to me, I just kept going.
Cool. Well, that's fabulous. Nice work. Thanks for being willing to let those tears come up and to acknowledge that rage. And, you might find that the situation changes with that family member that you had so much rage toward.
Well,
as you start to look, there's a...
What I wrote was, I want this person to be clear and not send mixed messages. And
right.
Then I canceled that goal for her to be clear and not send mixed messages, so that I would not get into fear and hostility.
Yeah, let's hold with that thought for a second. And now let's look at the ancient principle that says, take care of the heart. That is the unconscious or the dissociated mind, for out of it are the issues in life. And so notice this issue that surfaces for you in the context of this whole conversation is, I am not smart enough to do this work. I'm going to give them a message that I'm sick.
Right, that it's okay to be sick.
Is that the ultimate mixed message?
Oh, gosh.
I'm successful. I'm a smart student. I made it through the exam, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't have to do it. And here I am pretending to be so sick I can't do what I want to do.
Wow, you're sharp.
Well, that's my job.
I never got that. I never saw that.
Because it all connects. Thank you. It all connects. That's the game.
Yeah.
Take care of the heart, for out of it are the issues in life, says, whatever you deny and dissociate is what runs your life on a daily basis. And it shows up over and over and over again until you finally decide to go in and forgive it. And as you do the worksheet process and move forward and become more proficient at it, you'll be able to spot those links and those connections yourself more and more. And we strongly urge people, one of the reasons for our support group here on the radio is to offer this kind of support so that everybody gets the training in it, but to start a support group in your local neighborhood where you learn to facilitate, and as a group, you move forward in the process. And as you do, you come to new levels every time.
Wow. I did not realize the power of this radio show. I would have tuned in every day if I had done that. So thank you for opening my eyes to that, and I'll do my best to help get the group going here. It's
awesome.
Just that Fort Lauderdale and Miami are so far apart, and some people are way up in Pompano and so on. It's just, I don't know how easy it is to get this. Again, the whole hard, easy bit, I think
we're going to be in South Florida the last weekend in June doing a medical conference there, actually in Hollandale. And if we could put together a decent-sized group, we would come down and do something in Miami and see what we could get happening in that regard.
Right. Michael, I have every intention. I have the details to speak to the church here at the Universalist Unitarian, and I will let you know what they say. I've been given details of who to speak to, but my guidance told me to do my 40 days before connecting with them. So I'm ready to
Awesome.
I'm ready to talk to them tomorrow now, because tomorrow is day 40.
Fabulous.
I will let you know about June 26th. I would really like to get a group going here, and I'd love to have you not only for the Sunday, but stay another extra week and do a full workshop, the following week if possible, because this work is tremendous, and it should reach as many people as possible. I have put as many people as I can that are on my discussion groups and on my Facebook pages and fan pages onto this work, and they are just loving it. The ones that get it, that get how deep it is and how powerful it is, they are just getting it. So I want to thank you for your help today. And before I leave, there is a lady who asked me about the rose and butterfly story. If you would take a moment to go over that again, I would appreciate it.
Sure. Yep. The story is on the website, but also the rose and the butterfly story is a story I tell at step 4, where we're asking people to go back and connect with their source. And we ask people to imagine that we have a rose and a butterfly. We give them each an ego. They meet, they fall in love, they have this wonderful time together, but one day the butterfly up and flies away. The rose, knowing that the love of the butterfly is the most important thing in its life, uproots itself to give chase. What's going to happen to that rose?
It'll die.
Obviously it's going to die. Why does it die? Because it made something more important than being connected to its source. Whenever you and I, and to determine what the source of human life is, all you have to do is hold a newborn to know that it's about love. And when we make anything more important, any goal more important than our connection to love, we literally set up our own death. And we're here with this work to put an end to death on the planet. Literally, to put an end to death. If you go back to the ancient scriptures, they said, with man, death began. We made the process up, and we can put an end to the process. But we can't do it if we're going to keep doing the same old stuff. Out of the same old mind dynamics, we've got to be willing to change those inner dynamics. And that's what the forgiveness process is about. Because any thought, any feeling that you allow to enter into your guidance system when you're about to do something that is based in hostility or fear will defile your guidance system and render you unable to function fully as a human being. And we're looking to restore that function fully to every mind, heart, and being on the planet.
Okay, wonderful. I have one more question. I always seem to have difficulty with I want to punish, avoid, by. I don't always know what the answer to that one is. I just leave it.
And what you do is just mark that one unconscious then.
Pardon me?
Just mark that one unconscious.
Okay, just mark it on.
I'm not conscious of what my punishment thought is. What do I want to do? Do I want to yell at them? Do I want to cut them off? Do I want to punish them in some way? And take a look at that. And if you don't know what it is, if you're not conscious of it, then that's the place to cancel it.
Okay.
And mark it unconscious.
Okay, great. Wonderful. And
all righty, Dave. Thanks for your call, and we'll be in touch about June down there.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. Wonderful speaking to you. I appreciate your help. And thank you, Jeanie.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling in.
All right, Dave. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Is Terry around yet by chance?
Hold on. Okay, we do have another caller waiting on the line, but then we also, before the caller called in, we have a person in the chat room. It's actually our friends from the UK, and they wanted to have a little clarity on the difference between when we were talking about making a commitment to do 5 a day for 40 days versus the commitment that we have on our website, the My Commitment, and clarify what's the difference between those two commitments.
Okay. So the My Commitment is a statement that we suggest people use as a personal code in their relationships. So it's the commitment that goes, I promise to trust you enough to tell you the truth and be true to you, to treat you lovingly, gently, and with respect in my thoughts, words, and actions. So that's the commitment that we suggest you use in relationships. And then the commitment to do 5 worksheets a day for 40 days is the commitment to take that reality management process that Dayu was just talking about, go through the steps and do 5 of those a day. So that's what we're inviting people to do. And especially for people who are coming to Heartland, to integrate that tool into your life and be using it on a daily basis will, and the brain cells that you'll build through it will enhance your time at Heartland immeasurably. So that's what that one's about. So we've got a caller, Jeanie?
Yes, so we have area code 786. You're on the air.
Hello, Michael and Jeanie. This is Dan Miller-Smith out here in California.
Hey, Dan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. And yourself?
Awesome. Now, Dan is a bond trader who attended one of our workshops. What was that now, Dan? About 34, 35 days ago, and took the challenge to do 5 a day. What's happening, Dan?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. It's actually the first time I was exposed to you and what you and Jeanie are teaching was actually probably about 2 months ago in Key Biscayne, and then I actually had the chance, obviously, to sit down with you one-on-one about 35 days ago and made the commitment to do the 5 worksheets a day for 40 days. And on so many levels, I've just reached a whole new level of clarity. It's helped me to realize a lot of the patterns in my life that weren't working for me, and to really pinpoint and realize so much of the garbage that I've been carrying around with me for who knows how long, and a lot of the stuff that I've been attracting into my life, my relationships, both my personal life and in business. And it's really allowed me to let go of so much of that, so much of the fear that I've held with me that was a complete and total illusion is now becoming apparent, and realizing really just to, empower the thoughts that work for me and to dismiss and to disregard all others, really just to only really hold in my heart what I want to see back from the world. And in doing that, it's been pretty miraculous to see just in the last 35 days the changes that have happened on every level of my life, from actually even from a trading standpoint, the clarity that I've brought to a lot of the trades that I've been putting on, to my relationship with my girlfriend and with my family, my mother and father. And I just really wanted to thank you guys for being out there and for exposing me to this and for sharing this with the world, because it's what we need. I don't think that there's any other way to do it. Can you guys hear me okay?
Well, Dan, that's absolutely awesome, Dan. And excuse me, when we talked the other day, you were sharing what you were planning to do in this new business venture. I think it would be cool if you would share that with our group too.
Sure. I've got a unique opportunity to join a trader who is kind of transcended a lot of the dynamics of Wall Street. He is launching a new hedge fund that is all of the performance fees are going to charity. and it's kind of the first of its kind, and he's got a group of people together now who are all focused on the same goal. We've all realized that, that our abilities in the financial world can be translated into helping so many people, and that, so many people get caught in the illusion of, make money so you can buy a Ferrari or a new boat or, what have you. And I just feel so blessed to have been exposed to a group of people who are about forgiving as opposed to forgetting. And so I'm just real excited to bring this clarity and focus to the team and to serve in whatever way possible. And I truly believe that we're going to be guided to doing some really, really spectacular things because nobody's attached to what we can get in the material world. We're all focused on what we can give, what we can bring. And I think through that, and by the way, the fund is called the One Able Fund, and ABLE stands for Always Be Expressing Love. And that term, love, in Wall Street has been absent, for decades and decades. And I could say that, it's really a refreshing experience just even in seeing this all take shape and watching it kind of begin to grow organically and watching where it goes from here. You guys with me there? Can you hear me? Michael, Jeanie, can you guys hear me?
Oh, you muted yours. Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay.
We were hearing some background noise there, but yeah, we're hearing you just fine. Thanks, Dan.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, so I feel like it was fortuitous, and I think it was fate that I was to be exposed to your principles in the time where I really needed them the most for, taking a new step in this direction. I've realized probably the most important thing that I could have taken away from a lot of the work is that there's no difficult decisions when everything you do is in integrity. It simplifies my life so much, being a trader and dealing with 20 different counterparties, and generally speaking, there's kind of the thought out there that if you make a good trade, somebody else makes a bad trade, and vice versa. And I'm not only standing for the possibility, I've realized now that that's not the case, that was an illusion, and that there's so much abundance in the universe that we can all be, amazing creators for our cause. And in my case, I've realized that I don't need any more on the material plane, and I'm ready to do whatever I can in my power to generate abundance for the world. And so some of our causes are like Smile Train, where we're helping children in third world countries to fix cleft palate, and we're going to be doing a number of things kind of in the world hunger scene and in the clean water scene. And a lot of really amazing ideas are coming to us and being shown to us by others, and it looks like we're going to be getting some exposure here in some of the financial magazines and periodicals, which I think could be fantastic to help maybe others to shift some of the dynamics at work and start to show people that illusion of scarcity that so many people have put stock in, that there's just not enough out there and I need to get mine, and that whole thought process, it doesn't serve anyone. And that I think is the reason for the financial crisis from 2007 to 2009. Same thing happened in the late 90s, same thing happened in the 80s, and it's been a recurring pattern that we've been dealing with because we've all been carrying around that baggage. And I personally have let it go. I've realized the illusion, pinpointed it, and realized that thought has no room in my brain. It's not welcome there anymore. And so I'm just excited to see what shows up. I'm going to just do my best and step back and watch the rest take shape.
That's phenomenal.
Awesome,
and again,
awesome. And go ahead.
Oh, no, after you.
Well, it's just awesome, and, of course, any support we can be along the way, that will be fabulous, and we'll look forward to seeing how it all unfolds. And we
Absolutely.
appreciate you being a creator, and we appreciate sharing the planet with you. It's a privilege.
Well, thank you so much, and that's exactly what I was going to say, is that, I really look forward to continuing to develop our relationship and looking for guidance from you both, because you guys have, obviously perfected this science, and this kind of form of spirituality, and that I know that we're going to be leaning heavily on you guys over the years because there's going to be a lot to do, and in all directions. And I think one of my major focuses is going to be looking to share this information with the world and creating an avenue that is accessible for everybody. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to obviously empower you guys to help give us some good ideas. And I know that my boss, Peter, is obviously very close with you and is excited to do the same. So, again, I love you both so much, and I greatly appreciate the help and support, and I will be in close touch.
Dan, thank you. And just one more question, just so people get a sense of where this conversation is coming from. Do you mind if I ask what age you are?
Oh, I'm 24 years old.
So I think it's pretty awesome that at 24, with this me culture that's out there, that you can have this conversation is just absolutely fabulous, and we're glad to be part of it.
Well, thank you so much for letting me participate. And again, I will be speaking with you soon.
All right, Dan, and congratulations. I'll look forward to hearing from you in 5 days when you completed your 40 days, and go from there.
That sounds fantastic, and thanks so much. Lots of love to you both.
All right, lots of love to you too. Blessings.
All right.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Well. Bye-bye.
Michael, there's some questions in the chat room. Can you tell them what the difference is between, like, the workshops that we do when we're on the road versus the intensives, and how long are classes, both on the road and in intensives?
Okay, sure, I can do that. The workshops that we do when we're on the road are what I call information-oriented workshops. And what that means is I'm going to, in very short order, I mean, our workshops when we travel are 2.5 to 3.5 hours. They're all free. We offer them anywhere on the planet we're invited. And they, being free, we look to share the best information that we've got. There's not really time to go into deep process work. And so in the intensives, that's when we step into that next level of process work, where we not only give the information, but, we just did a little bit of processing with Dayu around an issue that she had. So at Heartland, what we'll be doing is we'll be teaching the tools, and then we'll move into that next layer, that next level, where people get to be supported in accessing the dissociated mind and cleaning up the dissociated mind, which means, sometimes we don't really want to go there. Sometimes we'd rather pretend that everything's okay and I don't need to deal with this. And so in the intensive, we're purposely about stirring those things, getting them to move for you and in you, and sometimes holding you accountable or confronting you with, okay, so let's go to the next level. And, sometimes people go, whoa, no, wait a minute, I don't want to go any further. Well, wait a minute, what did you come here for? And so sometimes there'll be a little bit of a push into, okay, what are you going to look at? What are you going to deal with? And we'll support you moving through it. So the workshops on the road are information-oriented workshops. The intensives are process-oriented workshops. We'll give the information, and then we'll step into doing the work that's required to move through those things. So that's kind of the difference in a nutshell. Does that, whoever asked the question in the chat room, does that get to the heart of what you were looking for and what of information? And I'm just waiting for Jeanie to see if somebody has an answer there. And other than that, the next, no other questions at this moment. Is Terry around yet by chance? No sign of Terry. Oh, okay. Terry's on the line. Hey there, Terry.
Hey, Dr. Ryce.
How do you be, sir?
Excellent. I was enjoying that description of the difference between the intensive and the workshop. I was appreciating that, and there definitely is stepping into a process when, even for me, when I just thought about coming out for an intensive, I believe that started things in action, and it seemed to intensify and increase right up to stepping onto the property and stepping right into doing some good work. Yeah.
So, Terry, I was wondering if you would explain why, after almost 3.5 years of worksheets, you made a choice to up your commitment from 5 a day to 10 a day. What happened that you did that?
What happened is...
That was a big breath.
Yeah. It was like there were so many things that happened to just define one marker. What happened, though, in a general way, is that there's a consistent building of the love energy, of bliss, and tapping into what is described as the cellular experience of love, and having that experience within my body to know what love feels like at a cellular level, to get little taste and pieces of that, and as continuing on to experience deeper levels of that is enough to certainly motivate me to continue into it. However, I want to add a little qualifier on there. Without every sheet, every step that had been done prior to that, I'm not ready. I wouldn't have been ready for that. I couldn't accept it and stay with it because, as you know, for several years after initially engaging in the process, for me, it would be, okay, we're going to do this and get into it and then hit a level and step out of it. It's too much or too much resistance or whatever, for whatever reason. Then it would take me another period of pain and suffering, let's put it that way, to motivate myself to get back into it. And when David and I joined together in that process a little over 2 years ago, almost 2.5 years ago, and started with that commitment to do the one worksheet a day for 10 days and to build that foundation, that was what allowed me to be able to expand and continue on it on a daily basis. Start with the baby steps, work on it, and then as I built the energy and the viability within my consciousness to take on more of it and step into that and be willing to step into it, keeping it on workable modules that my mind could accept. Okay, well, I did it for those 10 days. Now I'll do 5 to 10 days. And it's a way to work with what I have here as far as my structure and my thoughts around all these challenges and all, to continue that. So after doing the 5 and going through another summer last year and through the different workshops that came out of that and having the openings and the experiences, it's like, well, this is so good. Oh, let's just see if I can do 10. And then taking that 10 step using the same format. Well, I'm going to do 10 for 10 days. It's not like I'm doing this forever, eternity, and I can change my mind because, that's what my mind's looking for. I want to have to do this forever. Okay, so I do that 10-day thing, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is good. This is doable. I can do that. And continuing to work with that. And just yesterday, the experience I had with understanding what's behind some of my goals and how that goal is connected to what I didn't want and why that was exactly what I was getting was profound. And it's like, and I shared that with you a little bit earlier today. I was really amazed at how the process continues to unfold on a daily basis. How's that?
That's good. And Lisa in Florida just put in the chat room, 10 a day. Good for you, Terry. So you're getting accolades from Florida.
Yeah.
That's the Lisa in Florida that we know and love. Hi, Lisa. We're glad you're on the show. It's delightful. And Lisa's been doing support groups on and off for the last 4 or 5 years and taking the work to people. It's awesome to see how it happens.
Wonderful.
And another young lady who's been doing the Building the Brain Cells game with David, we talked about her yesterday, Christine, and she said that she definitely resonated with what you were saying about making a 10-day commitment, that for her that was very doable.
So, Christine, the starting point for you was 10 days, and that's awesome. If you do that for 10 days, life is going to change, and when you get up to that 40-day mark, it's never the same. It's always an awesome thing to watch unfold in people's lives and the things that happen. So we're delighted to be here supporting it. And maybe we'll ask Les and Bill and Owen and Jan how you're doing with your worksheets in England there. Are they moving forward? Maybe you can pop into the chat room and give us a thought about that.
He says that one method that he uses, they do self-inquiry with each other. And he says, one method I use for self-inquiry and process work is that pain of any sort is a pointer to healing. And would this be a good pointer, do you think?
Absolutely. I think that's awesome to do. And when you move it to the next level of actually taking on the worksheet and doing it, I think you're going to find there's still another level of happening that goes on, because what the worksheet does is it collapses the pictures in the mind to the point where you get to see another level of what's going on inside. So my invitation would be to take that and to start to put it to work on a daily basis. That will serve you well between now and when you guys get to Heartland, to actually put the pen to the paper and start to use that tool. We'll give you some proficiency in the tool, and of course we'll give you a taste of what kind of things are going to move as you come to Heartland, because it's going to take things a quantum leap further in the process. And we are looking forward. Jan and Les are experts or have been working with and studying the community building process. So we're looking forward to the skills that you're going to bring as well to share with us about community building, because, of course, now that we have an additional 50 acres of land at Heartland, we're working toward developing a conscious community based in these principles and these tools. So it's awesome.
Michael?
Yes, sir.
There was a piece I wanted to add to that on the worksheet process that's really key and core, and that I want to emphasize, is that I made the agreement with someone that was willing to hold me accountable. That support, I can even though I make the agreement on my own, but that was, I think, one of the key pieces, and I was overlooking that and wanted to step back and address that and emphasize that when I had a person on my team that was willing to commit to holding the space of love, telling me the truth, and holding me accountable, that changed everything. I wanted to add that piece.
Cool. Well, that's great. A good thing for people to look at, and that's why a component of building the brain cells game is that you get David's cell phone number and you text David every day when you finish whether it's your one sheet a day or your 5 sheets a day, and that you text him to confirm that you've done it, so that you're not just out there on your own and resistance comes up, you fall into it and give up, but rather you continue and complete. And that's certainly an important, and David, I appreciate your insight to add that piece of the puzzle to the work, because it has made a quantum leap in people's participation in using the worksheet, which, of course, we've been inviting people for years to do 5 a day for 40 days. And because of your piece there, David, we have had a much increased willingness and participation of people actually doing it instead of just talking about it. So thank you, David. Thank you, David. Thank you, David, for having the insight to add that to the program. Are you there, David?
Yes, I am.
Do you have anything to add, David?
Nope, I'm here.
So do you have anything to add to that? I am. I can hear you, David.
Oh, okay. I think what Terry said is right on, and I think if Christina is still listening in, I think that's one of the things that supports me and supported Terry in doing it. For I learned through several teachers years ago that on my own, my dissociated mind has been cleverly keeping me from looking at it. So for me to even think that I can do it on my own is really, I recognize it coming from my cognitive-based memory, my dissociated mind, which I've trained for years to keep it hidden from me. So if I've taught it how to keep it hidden, then it will learn everything and knows everything that's going on, and I've programmed it in to keep it hidden. It's kind of like that movie War Games, and there's been a couple of updated ones. Well, the program is to keep us hidden. I just need to keep it going like that. And when I make the agreement with, like, beginning with Terry and with Bill Greenfield, when I made those agreements, I purposely made them so that they would hold me accountable. It's a two-way street, and we'll talk more about that in the future, about how we plan to take it to the next level. We're always wanting to have someone that's really willing to, as Terry emphasized, to tell the truth. You know, that's come directly from the commitment, and then I promise to tell you the truth, and I'll be true to you. Well, that in itself brings up lots of challenges. And on my own, my dissociated mind is going to keep it hidden from me. When I have someone else there that will mirror back to me the truth, then that's real support. That's being loving, gentle, and respectful, and supportive. We use the term to support people, and the only way that I know to support anyone is if I'm supportable. And that means I have to do something that's uncomfortable, that I'm unfamiliar with, and to take responsibility, the ability to respond to in an adult fashion and tell the truth, whether I've done it or if I haven't done it. And through that acknowledgement, through that agreement with another individual is where the strength really lies in. You and I have talked about this before, Michael, and we call them as an adult agreements. As children growing up with them, we called them promises. Well, you know, we would make a promise with my best friend. I kept my promises to my best friend, and my best friend kept the promises to me. We're just in this adult stage now. We call them agreements. Well, as you know, you talked about that the biggest thing that what goes on in this world today, in the culture today, as it's developing, is that people break agreements. You know, I remember a statement that Khrushchev had said when he was doing his little act with the shoe on the table, and he said, promises are like pie crust, meant to be broken. And that was the philosophy that I remember that so distinctly. I was very young at that time. And so it is that, you know, remember how it is when the feelings that it happens when we find out that our best friend may have lied to us or didn't keep the promise. So keeping that in mind, that's the purpose, that's one of the focuses of the game, is to develop that confidence, not the confidence, the ability to recognize the truth within myself. So,
well, David, I'm delighted that I'm delighted that you remember that quote from Khrushchev. Of course, I wasn't around then, so I don't remember that. So I'm glad you were there to bring it in for us so that we could have the benefit of that. I'd never heard that quote before. Promises are like pie crusts, are meant to be broken.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Khrushchev. That's the bottom line statement of the non-being mind. Promises are made to be broken like pie crust. So I'm glad you're around, David, to catch that one.
Yep.
Right.
Heard it distinctly. It was right there, right by his side.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Jeanie, are there any other callers?
That's the non-being mind that says that. And incidentally, that's whenever someone heard that. I remember it as a child, as a young adult. I remember that, and so I'm sure I wasn't the only one that recognized that, and yet very few people are aware of that. And that's what happens when we hear lies. We hear them said like that. It's like those things aren't confronted, especially in a political arena. Wow, did you hear what you just now said? So the whole thing to do is to avoid that. Well, if I were to say something like that to Terry would be all over me in a heartbeat because I'm his friend, and we're friends. And friends tell the truth. So go ahead. You were asking Jeanie something.
Well, and as the first line, and it's such a key part of the process is, I promise to trust you enough to tell you the truth. That's the first line of the commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly,
it's so powerful to be willing to have someone approach you with the truth. And, of course, if we are in blockage of truth, which the non-being mind always is, whenever there's hostility or fear, there's always blockage of truth. And when truth approaches, what happens is stress goes up. And what most people, and one of the retrainings we're working to do with this work, is when your stress goes up, the average person's stress is linked to getting rid of the source of the information that shows them truth rather than dealing with the source of the stress, which is within. And so we are looking to support people in rewiring that so that the love of truth comes first, and if stress comes up because truth approaches, I work within me to clean up whatever it is that's creating my stress. And in doing so, I let go of another burden, another load, and we don't have to live in a culture of lies. You look at the most expert in the culture at lying, even rename the word. It's not lying anymore. It's just disinformation. And, that's the epitome of the non-being mind. And we need to start calling truth.
Exactly. And just as you were saying that, it reminded me that my friend will tell me the truth when we develop that. And, part of that, you and I have had this conversation several times. The only reason that people really lie, and this is my projection of it, is that people learn to lie because they've been taught or programmed, and the non-being mind has created a belief, if I tell the truth, I won't get what it is that I want. It's kind of like the lady that had called in that was saying that she told a lie. In essence, she told a lie about where she was at and believed that she got away with something. And so the non-being mind learned, oh, wow, if I lie, I will get away with something. Of course, that's another lie. It has to use that to support the lie that it told. Remember, one of the things that we have to do, there's only one thing we really have to do when we tell a lie, and that is we have to remember the lie. And we have to remember the lie, who it is we told it to, what day that it was, what they were wearing, who else did I tell this to, who they might be tell it to. I have to remember everything. The truth is the truth. We don't have to, quote, remember the truth. The truth is just there. We only have to remember the lies. When we're remembering the lies, we have to live into that energy field, and so therefore to support and reinforce it, we have to continue to tell lies. So when we hear the truth... David? Yep.
David, we're down to 10 seconds, so we're going to have to bottom line it. And, of course, the bottom line is I want to love truth, and in doing so, I don't burden myself, and I get to live the best year yet of my eternal life, and that's our space for you, what we hold for you. Blessings. Bring somebody with you tomorrow. Take care.